Hi, my name is Claire Andrew, and I am so excited to be working on this project. Teacher's Pet will be a series of conversations, all with inspiring humans from all different walks of life. It's essentially life school, and I plan on being the most brown-nosing teacher's pet possible, gathering tips and tricks from them on how to live a wild and creative life. I wanted to create a space full of inspiration, intimacy, wild lives, and uplifting stories, something that just feels like soul fuel. I felt really impassioned to just begin and fumble along until it finds its way. I don't want to stunt things in its tracks by being too precious. I want it to be raw and messy, something unpolished and authentic in a world of ever-growing perfectionism. I would love if you join me on this messy adventure. Let's get inspired together. Come on, be the teacher's pet. I dare you.
This is so exciting.
This is so fun. It's weird because this is just what you and I do in the car all the time.
Yeah.
Is just talk to each other about stuff like this. So it's funny that we're doing it
Building
recorded now.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we just get started with it.
Okay.
All right, Teacher's
Oh.
Pet, episode 1. And I feel like the most perfect person to start this with is you. Lily is a twister in human form. She's a poet, a painter, she's a filmmaker, an actress. She's my muse and my creative partner of 25 years, and she's my sister.
Yay, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on the first episode of Teacher's Pet. And yeah, I'm so grateful that we are creative partners and we get to start off together doing this.
Too. So we're joined here by our puppy, Darling. He's our little emotional support dog.
If you hear any goblin noises and growls and grumbles, it's him. He's cuddling us on the couch right now.
And what I want to do with this series of conversations is have them all set in places that are really meaningful to the people that I'm talking with. And right now we're in our garden. This is where we, sit to have tea and coffee, and we write and we paint, and where we sunbathe naked, and where we have our horses just down here. So we're covered in flies right now, and yeah, this is a special spot for us.
Yeah, this is our home.
I wanted to just start off by kind of, if you want to paint a picture of what our childhood was like any stories that you want to share about what we got up to.
Oh my gosh, that's a great
the projects
question.
we worked on. Yeah, just take it away.
Yeah, our childhood, I feel like it was so special because when I look back on it, it really was such a wild childhood. Like, we had each other, we were each other's constants no matter where we were living, when we were traveling, we were always together. So we've just been like thick as thieves since day one, getting into all kinds of shenanigans. And it really was like a Huck Finn childhood. It was a Wild West childhood. We had a lot of freedom, and that gave us a lot of freedom to be creative too, which I think is really special looking back on, that our parents trusted us to run off into the woods with a camera and come back with all our creations of what we got up to. And so we would go off and we would film each other. We would recruit neighborhood children to be in our movies, and we would just be constantly like, oh my gosh, what can we do today? Let's go make a movie. Let's go do a photo shoot. Let's go play dress up. Let's sew a costume. We were doing every single day was coming up with crazy ideas and then executing them. We really allowed to just be so wild and creative our whole childhood. That was how we entertained ourselves.
We always were surrounded by animals that we would find and rescue, and we always had cameras in our hands, and nothing really has changed.
No, we knew what we liked from a very early age. We were very just barefoot, wild-haired kids running through nature, going on hiking trails and stuff, getting lost in the woods, and coming home, dirty, exhausted, but so happy. And I'm so grateful for those years because I feel like that really shaped us into the people we are now. And honestly, not much has changed. We still enjoy doing all of that. We're still riding horses into the hills and
Making movies.
And getting into all kinds of adventures and shenanigans. And we just are doing more of that.
Yeah.
On a different level, but...
Well, each project that we've worked on has taught us things that we carry on to the next one. So they're all stepping stones and growth and big learning lessons that, like we carry on to the next and the
Yeah.
next. So I would love to talk with you about the filmmaking side of your brain.
Yes.
And we obviously, when we're producing a film, we all wear many hats. On our last film that we just wrapped, you were acting, we wrote it together, you produced it, you know, you're doing so many things, running all over set. What is that like to wear so many hats, and how do you feel like switching between them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like we've talked a lot about this because you also wear so many hats when we're making the films. And it's funny because I feel like we almost like struck this sort of like delegating tasks at a young age that still hasn't really changed. Like I feel like we really complete each other. So like if there's 10 things that need to be done, we kind of know like, okay, these are going to be your 5 and these are going to be my 5. And so together, I feel like we're a really good team because we have different skill sets. And so the wearing of all the hats, like even if it feels chaotic and wild because we're constantly having to do so many different odd jobs and run around set like little tornadoes, at the end of the day, we're really good at like, okay, this is a Claire project, this is a Lily project, and when we combine forces, it creates the full picture. So I'm very grateful that it works out that way, that we can get it all done. It's funny though, because there's kind of like different hats at different stages of production as well. So it starts in the beginning just with you and I on a hike or something, and we're like, let's write this story. And then that's when you and I kind of break it down. So that hat is like the pre-production hat of coming up with the idea, you and I just being in our like creative flow of just throwing out as many ideas as possible, seeing what we gravitate towards, and then starts the writing. And so I feel like all of that is kind of like the pre-brain of like the pre-production brain of, okay, I can focus on just writing, just creating story, just creating characters, all that. The thing that gets crazy then is when you switch from that mindset into the production mindset, and all of a sudden, you know, like I was doing props and wardrobe and hair and makeup and all kinds of things.
Set design,
Location
location scouting,
scouting.
Things, yeah.
You know, we're doing stunt coordinating, like all the actual like producing coordination stuff is also like a whole other separate skill set of just organizing people. And so thank God we had each other to be our team, our confidant. Like we could lean on each other when we were feeling overwhelmed. But that is funny when you're like on set, and you know, I'd be touching up hair and makeup and, you know, putting blood like in Colton's mouth or something, and then you call action, and then I quickly have to run to my spot in the scene and, you know, lie down, get in character, get prepared for the scene ahead. And so when you're on set and you're wearing that many hats, that's when it feels so chaotic. But in a way, I really love that creative chaos. I think that's fun. I like when I'm running around getting everybody in wardrobe and setting props and making sure everyone's hair and makeup is ready. And, you know, I'd be like building sets or finishing props or aging motorcycles or like whatever was called for the day. My day would start so early in the morning and it wouldn't end till so late in the night. And you're kind of at this weird state of like delirium hysteria, but so happy.
Yeah.
And I find it like really scintillating and exciting when you're running around like a little tornado on set, making sure everything's prepped and ready to go. And it's like the weird things, like I love aging wardrobe. Like I love when you watch you're at the monitor watching a still and you're like, man, that blood gag really worked. Like one of the things I'm most proud of is like we have a really cool bullet wound blood gag in this film that I was so excited about because I got to do that, and I'd never done that before. So it's the things that you learn on the job that you're maybe not expecting to do, stuff you've never done before. You know, you're just like, I hope it works out. I hope that it all comes together and you have that magic moment on set where all your hard work of prep pays off.
Yeah.
So even though the changing of hats is crazy, I honestly can't imagine doing it any other way.
Do you feel like there's one of your jobs, your many jobs on set, that you like have more time to prep for, and are there some that you feel like you don't have as much time to prep for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that most of my prep all comes from when we're in the writing process. I think that is where the most prep goes.
It just like seeps into every cell, and you just know then like when you get to acting that it's like already the groundwork is there.
I haven't even talked about the acting part of this yet. So
that's where I was trying to get to too with you is like the acting, I feel like for you might be something that comes last, but in a way it's also first because it's so about the character. And when we sit together writing for however long we write, and you know, you're always like working on the story and the script, the character just sort of like is just so inside of you that maybe that's why it's okay that when you get to set and you're having to think quickly and do a million jobs, and then you have to swap brains and go to acting mode, you can do it so fluidly because you have that foundation, like it's inside of you from months of prep.
Because we start with writing, I think that's kind of where the most prep goes, the most brain power goes, the most sort of backstory, like thought process about each of the characters goes. And so that's really when you and I are mapping out, I think, the tone of the film, and each character gets a lot more thought put into them, and the storyline and everything. So I don't know if I would be able to show up on someone else's set that I hadn't written and be able to act as haphazardly as I did on our film, because I knew, and I had to just lean on the fact that I know the story, I know the characters, because I had done all of that thoughtful, like, planning and mapping out beforehand. But it's interesting because in a way I would do things on set for like mid-scene, and you know, you're learning lines like morning of while you're also kind of running around and maybe fixing people's hair or wardrobe or whatever, and like, oh, that prop broke, I gotta glue that really fast, and I'm also reading the sides and making sure I know my lines. I think that in a way, any kind of like, if I had any kind of acting nerves for a scene, or like, oh, what am I going to do about this one moment, or what am I going to do about this? You really have zero time to stress about it, and that was kind of a wonderful thing, because I would go into the scene and just have to do it, and you are a lot more, I think, in the moment and natural if you're not stressing about it for like hours and hours before you get to set. And so that was kind of like a funny byproduct of just literally not having time to stress about it, which I was grateful for. You know, we'd be doing stunts or gags or certain things in scenes that if I wasn't running around, I maybe would have put a lot of stress on and been more nervous.
Yeah, because you're prepping so much for like the stunt days, the driving days, and then you get on set and you're like, oh wait, I also have to do stunt driving. You had to do your 180s and things like that, and you were so focused on helping get all the other elements prepped that for you, you just had, oh, like get in the car, I have to do this.
It's funny, and that was a really good example. That day in particular, when we were doing the stunt driving, which I was so excited about. That was like one set piece in the script that I was most looking forward to. However, I was also the most nervous for that day, because I knew that
there's a danger element with
it's
stunts.
risky. It's dangerous. You know that, like, okay, I could go into work today and it's not just me doing dialogue with another scene partner. I'm going to be operating a vehicle. I'm going to have other actors in the scene. I'm going to have other stuntmen in the scene driving other vehicles. Like, there's a lot more moving parts with stuff like that. So even though I was quite excited, I think I drove to set that morning and like did not say a word. Like, I think I was so focused, and
it was also like 4 a.m.
It was also 4 a.m. I was really tired. But I was so nervous about it the night before even that I went out because I couldn't even be home alone. Like, I would have been stressing out about it because I was nervous about it even the day before. I couldn't stop thinking. If you look in my script from that day too, because I have all my sides and my, you know, all my notes and stuff in the script. I normally write my lines out in my script to go over them, to memorize them, and you'll see in my sides that day, it's just the order of operations, how to get a 180 in a car, and it's so funny because I'm just writing it out over and over again.
To memorize.
Memorizing it and like manifesting it, like, okay, it's gonna go well, I'm gonna land that 180, I'm not gonna skid out, I'm gonna get lockup, it's gonna be okay. Like, I wrote all these little things just to kind of like a mantra. So I just would go over it in my head all the time of like how to do that maneuver and visualize it going well. So yeah, the stunt day was a big one for me, realizing like I had a lot of fun things to do that day, but also had to kind of like shift gears.
Well, you crushed it. That was such a fun day, and you did so well with that.
I'm really proud of that day. I had so much fun. And looking back, I was like, oh, all of that prep did pay off because we got what we needed. Everyone was safe. It was such a successful, it was a successful stunt day for sure.
How do you feel after you wrap on a film? We just wrapped our latest film, Rowdy Darling, and it was a huge part of our life for the past quite a few months.
Yeah.
And, you know, it started with us going and seeing F1 and being so inspired and then like triggered to maniacally write our script out really fast. And we like, you know, I'm so grateful to have a creative partner with you, because we do so many things together in life, and writing is such like it's a hard thing to do as is, and then it's a hard thing to do with a partner. But I don't even like I reflect on how lucky I am writing with you, because it is so easy, and like I never want to take that for granted, because I know it's not something that you know,
rare.
It is rare. It's very lucky to have that. So
it's rare. We're so lucky that we work so well together, and it's hard finding someone, like you might have a best friend that you love doing everything with, but that you just can't work with. And so
it is like you learn how to have that shorthand and that communication with someone that you're partnered up with creatively, and like it's a safe place for me to pitch at bad ideas.
Totally. And we always talk about that.
Yeah.
We're always like, we have to get all the bad ideas out, because it's going to lead to the good ideas.
Yeah.
And so it's just like digging and digging and digging, and it's a lot of like, okay, what I'm about to say is not the move. This is not what we're gonna do.
But is it a stepping stone to the right thing?
Exactly. And so I think that like a lot of things that probably actually in general, what probably holds people back is like feeling insecure or embarrassed that they're gonna mess up, or that they're gonna say something wrong. And so for you and I, that's the thing that never holds us back, because we don't care if we're gonna say something that sounds kind of silly or might be a terrible idea, but it like leads to the next thing. And so that's why our writing partnership works so well, because we feel so comfortable to pitch each other ideas and talk things through, or be like, I don't really think that's good, or I don't think that's the right like avenue to follow, or I think that tonally that's off, and we're not,
it triggers
and we're not
something,
also embarrassed to say a bad idea, and we're also not like mean or have an ego about it. So we're never going to put each other down in a way that feels stifling. We might say like, oh, I really don't feel that one, but let's keep running with it and see where it leads, or like, oh, this part of it is good, this part of it doesn't work, here's why I think that, you know, and we're able to like communicate in such a way that is so exhilarating and fun, and that's what keeps us working together, obviously, because if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't be able to do it.
And it should be fun, and it's like that's what I feel like is infused in all of the projects we work on. It's like yes, there's a level of like, I don't even want to say the word stress, because that has a negative connotation. There's a level of like, you know, fun, chaos, like problem solving, like always having to figure out like, oh, this isn't working, what do we do now? But it has this like overarching joyous energy around all of everything, and I'm so grateful for that, because that's how I want everything that we do in life to
chaos is a good word, because chaos can be good or bad. I think we have good chaos, and I think that on our set we had good chaos, because like, I mean, there's days where, I mean, we were out there in the desert filming for hours, or, you know, the cars would break down,
cameras
or
overheating,
all kinds of, we had so many little chaotic moments. But at the end of the day, I mean, we'd be, you know, hour 12 would be rolling around, and we'd be looking around on our set, and every single crew member is laughing and chatting and having fun.
And doesn't want to leave, even at the end of the day.
We'd wrap and we're like, hey, let's hang out in the parking lot. Like, you know you're having a good time when you wrap and you're still hanging out in the parking lot, and like the location is closed, or the sound stage is like the doors are locked, and you're still just in the parking lot with all the gear trucks, and you're just talking about how fun your day was, because you can't even process like what you guys shot that day. And so that's what I want. I don't mind if it's wild. I don't mind if it's chaotic or messy, or haphazard or anything like that. I love all of that, as long as people are having fun.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the whole goal. But I also feel like I talked over your question. You said, how do you feel about rapping?
Yeah, so back to rapping. We just wrapped. We've been full force in pre-production and then production. Now we're in post. How do you feel having just wrapped? Like, what are your first feelings and thoughts?
So many feelings, because I feel like you go through waves of feelings when you rap. Also, I kind of feel like it's like when people have kids and they say it's like the 4th trimester, it's like it's not over. Like, we're kind of in the 4th trimester of this film. Like, people keep being like, oh, you're done, and I'm like, dude, we're so far from being done. We've just entered the new phase. So I feel there's like the relief of, oh, I don't have to be spinning a car at 6 a.m. However, I'm also like, oh my God, I'm not spinning cars at 6 a.m.
I miss it.
I miss it. So, you know, it's like the relief of letting our bodies maybe physically relax a little bit more, which is lovely. And also allowing ourselves to like step back and think, wow, we really did it. Like we really did it. We got from point A to point B on a project. Like that's a huge feat. Like I'm so proud of us, and we made it. However, I'm also like, we got to get to work because we're nowhere near being done.
Too much.
Yeah, I can't relax too much. And I think like the first week I was so jazzed on just like the whole experience. And like we were going out, and we were seeing friends, and we were like telling everyone like, we just wrapped. And now this week, actually, now that's like 2 weeks after, I feel like I'm so tired, like a level of fatigue that has never been met before in my life, where I'm just, it's like blissed out fatigue. Yeah. I'm still really happy.
Well, when you're filming, you run on adrenaline, and like you don't get sick, you just keep going. You can wake up at 2 a.m. and
you're
you
in
can go to
suspended
bed.
animation. You need nothing.
That's a great example, yes, or a great way of putting it. And then as soon as you wrap, that's when people get sick. That's when you get really tired, and you're like going to bed at 7 p.m.
I'm fighting that so hard right now because I feel like I'm finally coming down off of the high. But it's good because in a way it gives you something to look forward to still. Like you're like, okay, I'm not with all my friends on set every day, which is sad, but also
fun party
I get to watch all the footage now with you. Now we can do the final phase of creating the film, which is actually like the most important phase of creating the film because it's what's going to bring it all together. Like
we take all those elements and it becomes a film somehow.
Yeah, and somehow magically it's going to all come together. But yeah, it's like we made the clay, we sculpted the clay, now we get to fire the clay. So
I like that. That's a great way of saying it. Speaking of different mediums of art, you are so creative in so many different ways.
Thank you.
You have and I'm so proud of you for this because it's so badass and cool, you just self-published a poetry book.
Yes, I did.
And I just love to talk to you a bit about that because being a writer and being a poet, there's sort of two sides of that. There's the creating side, which is like you know, writing down feverishly all your poems in the middle of the night, like at a red light, creating, producing, and it's quite an intimate thing. You know, this is something that you do. Like we write films together, but you and I write our poems separately. We write things separately, and it's like so internal. But then you've just also had this other side of it, which is self-publishing, which is like having to figure out how to put together a book, how to publish it, all of the different technical details, which is so unlike the poem itself. It's completely different. But they come together, they married together, and then you make a book. So what was the whole process of we'll get into the actual poetry writing, but let's just talk right now about your self-publishing process.
Yeah, sure. So I feel like because we do write so many things together, we write tons of scripts together, and we write scripts separately as well, but we're always writing, I feel like, quite big projects. It's so fun writing the poems on your own in a way that it feels very satisfying because they're like short format. Like you can just get an idea out onto the page and it can tell a little quick story and it's just like a snapshot. Yeah. So it's been really fun because when we're in production on these big long-term projects, it's so nice to kind of come home and it might be 3 a.m. and you're like, I'm just gonna sit, I'm just gonna write a little poem just for myself. And it feels very kind of Bronte to be by candlelight, like writing a little poem. And it is very intimate. And that was funny because now that you're asking me specifically about self-publishing, I kind of, again, like everything in life, I just am the most impatient person on planet Earth. And I was like, I just need to get these out. Like, I have a stockpile of poems and I'm ready for them to just be all together, living in one book and have them out and have it be done. And so I kind of feel like, I don't chase perfection. I just want it to be a fun, happy experience, and I don't care if it's haphazard or messy. So, I mean, you'll go through the book and you'll see there's so many typos, so many spelling mistakes. I spell things differently throughout the book, but I wouldn't have it any other way because I wanted it to be like you're reading my notes app. I want it to be like my diary entries. I want it to be like the raw love letters. I want it to be like it's spilled ink and it, and so I wanted it to feel very natural in that way.
And perfectionism can really be a roadblock and kill creativity because if you had waited too long by like agonizing over every little like perfect detail of the book, you might have stopped yourself from even just doing it. And you learned so much from the experience that you're going to take those lessons to the next one that you publish, which is hopefully soon. And yeah, it is. It's like so intimate and raw to be able to like kind of release your notes app to anyone who wants to take a peek at it.
And that was funny because I chase the poetry, not the perfection, right? And
our whole mantra of this past year, we always have different mantras, I feel like. And so like 2024 was all about like feral girl summer for us, and then 2025 was like shitty pretty. So everything that we did, like the film was so shitty pretty.
Everything shitty
Our
pretty.
photography had this layer of shitty pretty on it.
Yeah.
Your poems are so like
shitty pretty.
shitty pretty. It's like they encompass that. So I'm excited to see what 2026 is like.
Yeah, what's our new theme
gonna be for us?
Yeah, but once I published it, it was funny because all of a sudden it was out and I felt this huge weight off my chest. Like, oh, I did it. I got it done. I figured it out. I'm not the most tech savvy. I had to figure out how to make it into an actual book. I had to figure out how to work the self-publishing, like even just the website. Like I had to figure out all the tech stuff that I'm not good. I'm a poet. I need to be like writing with a quill, you know. I shouldn't have to learn how to do all of the tech stuff, but it's very empowering because now I feel like I can do all of that.
And what a time to be alive. Like, I feel like the Brontes and Jane Austen and everyone, they're probably just so happy looking down at all of these like writers nowadays, because they had to fight so hard to get published as women and back in that time, and just like getting published in general is such a feat, it's such an accomplishment. And for us to be able to have access to self-publishing where like it kind of evens the playing field, like anyone can get their voice heard, and you were able to, you know, in the blink of an eye, be able to get your words out there. And
imagine like in the olden days when you'd have to like wait for your wealthy brother-in-law to like publish it under his name because like you couldn't because you were a girl. Like that would drive me insane. Like no wonder people were insane. Like people like I too would be running around my castle lighting the curtains on fire if I had to wait for a dude to publish my poetry.
Yeah, or if it had to be posthumously.
Posthumously.
If after the joke,
the grand joke is over. Yeah, no, that works too.
You got to see it in your lifetime, like as an artist, to see your as a creative person to like be able to. And this is also even like applies to filmmaking. Like, you know, cameras are smaller, they're more affordable, and books can be published, self-published.
You can put
it's like
songs on Spotify.
Yeah,
you can have your own. Like Instagram, which is like your own news outlet of like, this is what I'm doing. Like we're so lucky that we can just make art and put it out there in the world, and whoever wants to see it can see it. And it's like you will find people that your poems or your paintings or whatever like
resonate
with, and they'll find you, and you don't have to be like, oh, I wish I could get it in this gallery, or I wish I could do this, or I wish someone would publish my book, or you know, you don't have to wait. And
you don't have to wait for people to take chances on you. You can take those chances on yourself and advocate for yourself and push for yourself, which is amazing. So I'm so proud of you for doing that. It's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And
I'm happy with it.
I can't wait to see what you do with your next book, what you publish next.
It's so close to being done too. I'm just itching to get that one out also. But it does feel funny because I'm like, I just feel like I'm just publishing nudes all the time. Now I'm like, here you go. That's a great segue into my next question about the poetry. So we just talked about sort of like the tech side, or like the side of publishing and poetry that's not really about the writing aspect of it. But now I want to dive into like sort of the writing aspect. So you're in your bedroom, it's the middle of the night, you've been struck with a poem, you're writing it down, and you know, you're very raw and intimate and unfiltered, and it's about someone that you know, or someone in your life, someone you've crossed paths with, you know, and then you go to publish it. Do you feel this sort of like intimacy revealing feeling, publishing your news type thing? You're my sister, I know you know the answer to this. But
how much do you change?
I will answer as if you don't know the answer to this. So a lot of poems are inspired by obviously like real life
experiences,
things.
yes.
A lot of them are either about just random things in my life, like, you know, I can romanticize anything, you guys. It will be me like stuck in traffic and I'm like, oh my god, this is like the most poetic day of my life, right? Like it could be anything. However, some of the poems that I have published are about people, and it's so funny because I feel like there's really only one that I left completely as is.
So you did have to tweak a little bit?
Yeah, I had to. I mean, you've read the originals, and there will be the originals, and after I die, they will
posthumous
ones.
The
posthumous ones. They will all have to be burned. But the ones that are published are sort of like the slightly tweaked and cloaked ones.
Yeah.
They're slightly disguised. However, I think if they're about you and you read the book, you will know. I think the only person who will know is who it's about. I don't think any of my friends reading it will really know, or anyone who's a stranger will definitely not know. But if it's about you, you might read a poem or two and think, that's maybe about me.
How does it feel having people read your poems? Like, for instance, our dad, you know, has been like reading every single poem and like taking time and taking notes and like complimenting you and saying how proud he is of you. How does it feel for that, you know, to have your dad read your poems?
It's so sweet and so funny because there's stuff in there that you might not necessarily want your mom and dad to be reading. I mean, there's a lot of them that are like love letters. A lot of them are diary entries. A lot of them are just ramblings and ravings. So yeah, there's some of them that I think are totally parent friendly. People talk about kid friendly. No one talks about parent friendly. Like there needs to be like some sort of warning system on books for if it's parent friendly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dad has been so sweet because he goes through my book like with a fine tooth comb and he will underline lines he likes and he'll write little notes next to them and he'll tell me like, oh, I read this one today, and also like obviously he knows me very well in my life very well, so he'll like remember certain things, like I remember when that happened to you, I remember when you came home and told me about that. So it's very sweet because he is he's like #1 fan. However, there's some stuff in there that I'm like, oh god, like once he gets to that one, like is he gonna be like, Lily, that poem you wrote? Because you know sometimes they're a little bit saucier than others, but I think poetry is forgiving. I think that there's some cloaked vagueness. It's like he's reading it for the literature. I hope he's not reading into it too deeply. So I think it's okay. I think it's like if you look at a beautiful like naked painting or something, you're not necessarily thinking like, oh, you're just like look at the art of it, right? So I think hopefully he's reading it for the art of it and not reading it like he's reading his daughter's diaries.
Oh god.
I know. I'm like, hopefully it's fine. I think I'll go back through my book and I look back at it, I'm like, oh, it's really not.
Yeah.
There's nothing too bad in there, but it does make me laugh knowing that he's reading it.
But and then like there's the intimacy of having friends and family read your writing, but then also you've told me that you'll be like out in town or something and someone will come up to you and be like, oh, you're the poet. How does that feel? Because like your poetry is so internal. It's so like it's not collaborative like filmmaking. It's like you have a team. It's like very public and collaborative. This is so just you. Yeah. So for it to like, does it feel like there's a disconnect? Even the self-publishing, you're doing it yourself. So there's no one else involved, which is kind of odd because like if someone says, oh, I saw your film, they might be like, oh, I loved the cinematography or I loved the wardrobe or whatever, and you know that it's like a collaborative effort and that there's multiple people's creative style involved or obviously for our film it's like it was just like a smaller team doing a bunch of different jobs, but for most of the time it's like you do have a whole team that is behind you working with you. Our team was so collaborative. Like I loved that on our set. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what job or department you're in. They'd be like, let's do this in this scene. Let's do this. So like we wanted everyone to be able to pitch ideas even if it wasn't their department, because a good idea is a good idea. Yeah.
With the poetry book, it is different because it is all from my brain. But that was cool because I've never really like what you're talking about, like going around, like if I'm just like out in town doing something and then someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, I bought your book, you're the poet. I've never had anyone come up to me and say that before. And so like the first time it happened, they're like, you're the poet. And my first instinct was like, oh no, like you have the wrong person. And then I realized, oh my gosh, no, you're right. Like I am the poet. That you are talking about my poetry book. And that was cool because again, when you're self-publishing and you're doing it all on your own, it does kind of feel weirdly anonymous. And so I kind of put it out there thinking no one's gonna read it. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of out there for me, and like my grandkids can find it one day. But then the fact that people are reading it is so funny to me,
Yeah.
and kind of surreal. And so that was cool, thinking, oh wow, like my words are actually being read, like by other
Yeah.
people that I don't know. Like some strangers have come up to me at parties and things
Yeah.
and been like, oh my gosh, I just finished your book, and that was super cool. So that was like a moment that I'm gonna cherish for the rest of my life. Just
Yeah.
thinking, wow, that's cool that people are reading words I've written.
I think that's interesting too, because the act of making a project, creating something, how much of it are you looking through just your own eyes, or are you looking through the lens of like everyone's eyes, like wondering how everyone's going to see it and perceive it? Are you like, and it's different for different mediums. So like sometimes we'll be writing a film that's such a soul film, like such a passion
Right.
project, that we're not really thinking that anyone else is, like, we're not writing it for other eyes necessarily.
Yeah.
And then there's some films where you're like, oh, actually, I think this could do well, and you have to have like almost a producer lens,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, this could do well because this film hasn't been made in a while, and like this film did really well, you know, when that came out, and you
Yeah.
think in a producing way. Poetry, I feel like you're looking through just your own lens. Like you're not trying to write a poem that you're thinking like is gonna like sell well.
Yeah,
or something.
you're not like writing like a summer blockbuster
Yes,
poem,
yeah.
right? Like you're like, this poem called Petals starring Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
Like no, it's not like that. So it's different because what you're that's a really good question, because when you're writing films, you're either writing a film that's like super deeply personal to you and it's kind of like moving poetry, right? You're like, this is my story, only I can tell it because it's straight from my soul, right? It's like super personal. But then there is like a branding, marketing, selling aspect to filmmaking too, that you're like, okay, this film is going to be a super fun slasher film. Everyone's going to love it because it's like, you know, whatever. And so that's like the producer, like brain marketing, packaging part of your brain. Poetry, you're kind of like, I don't really mind if no one likes this. Like I'm totally okay with one person liking one poem out of this whole book.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay if no one reads it. It doesn't have the same sort of thought going into it of like, oh, how do I package this, or how do I sell this, or how do I promote this? At least for me, I'm sure like other people maybe are like, oh, I could package it this way, or I could do that.
Yeah.
But for me, it really was like, what if I just published like all my random thoughts and just like let it exist in a book outside of myself.
And very pressure free.
Yeah, very pressure free. And I think if you're writing like a series or like, you know, a novel or something, like you're gonna maybe think, oh, who's the audience, who's the market, right? Like who else will like this book?
What bookstores can I get into?
Exactly.
Like,
And that's like so natural, because you want it to resonate with larger audiences and all that kind of stuff. But for poetry, it really doesn't have to be like, how many people can I touch with this? It's like, okay, even if 10 people like it, that's 10 more people than I realized. Because for me, I mean, even when I go through my poetry book, because it's been just a couple months now, but I like flicked through it the other night, and I like forgot some stuff that I'd put in there, and I will go through it and be like, oh my god, this poem is like so not top tier poetry. However, I love it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if anyone likes it. If I like it, that's enough, and that's fine.
And art is like, your style of art and projects are going to always evolve. And this is another like thing that could hold you back, is like the fear of evolution and letting your aesthetics change and your style and tone and everything change. So like if you were like, this is with filmmaking, paintings, everything, like I've seen both of our styles throughout our lives
change
evolve
drastically.
so much. And it's also even personal style. Like you look back at like the clothes you wore as a kid, and you're like, I
oh my
looked,
gosh,
you know, so many different choices, and
absolutely,
that fear can hold you back.
Totally.
But you have to almost not think about it and not care, because everyone is always changing. And if you want to only put out work or art or content or whatever it is that's like one style, you might never find that one style because you haven't let yourself have the chance to like practice.
Like by
and
the time you get to publishing, and then if you were to look back and be like, oh well, I'm different than I was 6 months ago, like still just hit publish. Like just make that one be a little time capsule of who you were 6 months ago. Like don't, like I really could have just kept tweaking it and changing it. And even I did that on purpose too with this, because this is my first poetry book that I published, and you know, the next one, who knows what I'll do, but the first one, like there's some poems in there that are like maybe like silly or goofy or like lighthearted or whatever, and or not my like best favorites, but I left them in there because they were some of the first poems I ever wrote.
Yeah, so it's like a time capsule.
Exactly.
For you.
So I was like, these are not that good, but I'm still proud of them because they were some of the first ones I ever wrote, and they wouldn't have, like, if I didn't write those, I wouldn't have gone to the good ones that or the
and
ones
does
that
it
I think
even have
are good.
to be good? Like
No.
it's like there's no good or bad.
You
It's
could
really
publish
just like
an entirely-
this is Lily's first few poems, and these are her later poems, and this is how she felt then, and this is how she feels
Exactly.
now.
And I like sprinkled them in so it's a mix throughout the book. So like you might be reading it and there's one like that. Some of the poems in that book I wrote the day before I published it. Like they're right up to the wire.
Yeah.
So some of them are like my most recent, and some of them are the first ones I ever wrote. And it's cool because like as you're going through the book, it's kind of like a little
time traveling.
Yeah, like it feels like you're on a bit of a journey. And when I read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm flashback to like when I was like 15, or now I'm 16, or now this was 2 months ago, you know? So I feel like that's fine. Like you don't have to be perfect. It can be messy. It can be like it doesn't even have to be cohesive. It can be whatever you want, and people are gonna be like, oh, this one touched me. That one's funny because that's probably really niche to her, and I didn't really get it. But like, it doesn't. You don't have to be too precious with it.
Yeah.
And I could have totally. There's a lot of poems in that book, and I could have totally whittled it down and made it more curated, but I didn't want to. I was like, I'm just gonna get them all out there, let them exist and live
you were
on.
working on so many projects at that time too. That like
we were also deep into production. Like we were already filming by this point when I published it, and I remember I published it and I got my proof, like the first one that they send you to see if it like all looks good. Yeah. I got my proof copy when we were shooting. Like that scene out where Matthew in the car, like that night it was a small crew. It was just me and Matthew on a car. And I remember I had the proof like in my bag and I was super excited about it. So it was like, we had a lot of fun projects going on at the same time.
Yeah, you couldn't be too obsessive. And I feel like we talk about this all the time. Ever since we were young, we reference the quote of Leonardo da Vinci saying, art is never finished, it's merely abandoned. And it does kind of feel that way. Like you have to fight against perfectionism and at a certain point release it at the state that it's in. Otherwise, you can't keep making new things.
Yeah. That quote we have said to each other our whole lives. Like it gets to a point where you just have to abandon it. Like I actually think in a way, I've gotten more creative and made more art, and I've also like gotten worse at art as I go because not worse in like the way you think, but I've gotten messier and more haphazard with it. Like I used to spend months on a painting, and now I'm like, if it takes me too long and I'm nitpicking and I'm just changing like small things over and over again, I'm like, you need to release it. You need to like let it be messier, let it be worse, and in that way, I think I've gotten better because I think I've made more art.
You can try new things.
Practiced more, like I'm not. I've gotten worse in the fact that I am less detail oriented, but I've gotten better in the fact that I like what I'm making more. It's more my style. I've had more practice. And I haven't been holding myself back by trying to make it perfect and letting it take too long.
Have you ever struggled with creative blocks, writer's block, or perfectionism?
So in some things, yes, and in some things, no. I think that, like with writing in particular, I don't think I ever had a block. I think I didn't get interested in it till later, which was interesting. You were always really into writing even as a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that I didn't have maybe a block like inside of me that I couldn't write. It was like I just didn't have the interest in it. And
which is crazy because now you're such a huge writer.
That's all I do now, which is so funny. But I was always interested in painting. I never really had like a creative block with like painting or things like that because that for me was always really messy and fun and free. I think I had like a block maybe that I wasn't a writer for a long time as a kid, and like I was like, oh, Claire writes and Lily paints or whatever, and it just wasn't something that appealed to me. And then I turned 16 and I remember you were doing a writing class and you were writing all the time, and then I was like, I want to do this too. And so then we both started writing together and at the same time, and then I became like an unstoppable train where now like addicted. I literally have to pull over like on the freeway sometimes, and I'm like, this is a hazard. I'm gonna
just
die.
Stop in the middle of the freeway to write down my
like, am I gonna die for this poem? Like maybe, like, and that's fine, and that's beautiful. And so now I'm like a writing fiend where I will literally wake up, or I won't go to sleep, and I'm just writing all night. Yeah, I just can't stop writing now. So that was like an unlocking. I don't know if that's the writer's block, but it was just like writer's unlocking in my brain. And then I do think like I get perfection. I have had perfection things hold me back with maybe more, this is maybe different, maybe this isn't even in tone with what we're talking, but like as a kid, growing up doing taekwondo and martial arts, I was very perfectionist-y with that. And that was like a funny thing where that was a physical thing I was doing, and it was closer in alignment with maybe like dance or performance, where I was like wanted it to be perfect and be a perfectionist with that. However, that would maybe be the only thing I think I've ever felt like a perfectionist on. And not that I was perfect at it, but that was the level I was striving for. Whereas and that's obviously not even as creative as painting or writing or things like that. But for me, that was like a creative expression thing where I would be really hard on myself if it wasn't perfect.
Okay.
But in other things, I think, especially as I've gotten older, perfection has gone further and further from my mind. And in fact, if things look too perfect, I don't like it. And
you're like, add the grain, add the flares.
I'm like, that looks too good, I hate it.
Take the punctuation away.
Yeah, literally I've done that where I'm like, I'll capitalize random words because I'm like, I want the emphasis here. You know, like I'd rather it look.
Did Shakespeare care too?
No,
sorry, I cut you off, but yes.
No, shitty pretty. It's like Shakespeare doesn't care.
Yeah, Shakespeare was making up words left and right, and look how that turned out.
And look how that turned out. He's done fine for himself. We're all very proud of Shakespeare. Yeah, so I think like now, in a weird way, I'm chasing things to not be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. And if it is, then I stray from it as far as possible.
That's good. And like also in a time of AI.
Yeah, none of my art will ever be accused of being made by artificial intelligence. It's genuine stupidity. It is slapdash, haphazard, messy girl.
But I think people crave that because, you know, we always have ebbs and flows in industry and creativity and like, you know, as technology advances, we get really excited by it with green screen and with mocap and with, you know, digital painting, and it's always really exciting, and I don't want to squelch exciting progress. But
I think use the tools you're given, and like I mean, we didn't have color we didn't have color.
People fight against talkies.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be fighting against the change all the time.
But what I do think is there's always these like style things that people are enjoying, and I think that there is an enjoyment of like art that is raw because we do now get to see a lot of perfection in our day-to-day. We see things that are technically perfect and very skilled, and
we have the ability for perfection, which is crazy because I think in the past it was impossible. So when you hear about like you know, Renaissance artists and stuff, and they're chasing perfection,
and then you get the Impressionists come along, and they're like,
"What are you doing?" You know, these
hacks,
And so, but also perfection was impossible. Like that's why like Turkish rugs do have they always have a thread that's off, and they do the tiling is always off, right? Because they are like, oh, perfection is impossible.
Perfection isn't for humans.
It's for the AI
gods. It's for the AI gods.
You know? And so now we do have the ability for perfection. And I think now humans are like, wait a second. It's lacking,
I like it a little messy.
It's lacking poetry now, you know? And so I think that you're right. I think that we can see that trend in art, in film, in all things, like even fashion and things. Like we aren't really necessarily wanting to see something that is just like glowingly perfect. We want it to have, at least for our style and what we like, I know that I feel a lot more connected to art when it is a little messy. So many flies, Claire.
There's so many flies.
So many flies.
Messy.
Definitely
not AI.
Between the puppies and the horses, there's just so many flies out right now.
I wanted to talk about, so we obviously have been working together on projects ever since we were kids, making movies, doing photo shoots, painting, dancing, theater, and something that we did as a kid and we're not doing again, and I'm so excited about, is we had an art exhibit when we were like, how old? Like 7?
I was 7, so you were 10.
10. And we had our first art exhibit. You had your paintings and I had my photography. And I think we were in Atlanta at this time.
We were living in Georgia at the time.
And we were at this like art fair, and we had our little booth and we sold our art. And that was one of the first times that we sold art, and that was like so exciting as little kids.
Oh my gosh, I felt so cool. I was like, wow, I'm like a business owner,
Yeah.
artist. Like I am gonna do this forever. And guess what? We are.
And we are.
Yeah.
So it's such a sweet memory to reflect on, because now we're in the process right now of having another art exhibit. It is your paintings and my photography, and then also poetry involved as well with it. And we've been prepping it, and I love it because we've just been like sort of haphazardly, like having no idea really what we're doing. We're just running around, figuring it out on the fly, getting things framed, getting things printed, and I just like love having you as a creative partner, because it makes everything more fun.
So much more fun. Can you imagine if we were doing this separately or by ourselves?
Boring,
or
boring.
I think I actually I reflect on that a lot. I'm like, I wouldn't do half the stuff I do if I had to do it alone, because that is so boring.
It's so boring without you.
Like you and I driving around to all the frame shops and stuff. Like it makes it so much more fun.
We
like,
roll
guys,
up just not knowing what we're doing and being crazy.
So
and
dirty. So
can you
messy.
frame this?
Yeah. What do you think? And I think about that a lot. Like I literally wouldn't be as creatively inspired or even like creatively motivated if I was trying to do this alone. It makes it so. Get yourself a sister, you guys.
Yes.
Get yourself a sister who can be your lifelong partner in everything you do, because it just makes it 1,000 times better. It makes it way more fun. So I've been.
Yeah, we just laugh through the whole experience.
Oh my God, yeah.
And every time you hit a roadblock, every time something goes wrong, it's still funny because
It's
you're
still
with
fun
your
because
sister.
you're with your sister. Like literally, like I can get through anything if you're with me. And so, it's been super fun doing this gallery. Also, that has helped with the post-film wrapping blues.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you have so many other projects that also occupy your brain, you can't be sad if you're still working on projects and you get, because I get so much fulfillment, and I know you do too, from making things, creating things, producing things, getting things out there for the world. So,
I would love to chat with you about like what does living feral mean to you, and like romanticizing your life, and how do you go about your day to day? What is your life like inside your brain, and how do you see the world?
Great question. It's funny because obviously we do everything together, so I know you know what living ferally is like. But for people listening, I think that we go through every single day, and our only goal is to like live a wild, beautiful, feral life. And so I think if that's your goal, like it's gonna happen, because every single decision you make is gonna be like, oh, what would the main character of the movie do next, right? Like what soundtrack is playing right now in my head, right? Like who is the wardrobe department? Like what is my character wearing today? Like I think if you go through life thinking, how can I romanticize this situation? Or how can I, like, I'm just gonna see the beauty in everything today. I'm gonna talk to people I would never normally talk to, or I hope I cross paths with someone like this, or like whatever it may be. And we've been doing this since we were kids, so it's kind of funny because I feel like now articulating it, I'm like, this is just how we've been since we were kids. It's not like we're actively trying to change our life and live a certain way. This is just how we operate. This is our default setting, is feral. But I think it can be anything. Like, I mean, even like you can go through life, and like we've had tons of construction by our house recently on the road, like so much roadworks, right? And this is just an example that like I'll see people stuck in that traffic, and they're like angry. Yeah, they're honking their horns, and they're like rolling down their windows, and they're being mean to the sign spinner person, and all of that, right? And then I'll get up to where I'm like the front of the line, and there's the construction guys there. And this happened just a couple weeks ago where I rolled down the windows, and I know I'm gonna be sitting there for a while, so I rolled down the windows, and I'm like, hey, what's your favorite kind of music? And the guys were shocked, and they all shout out like, oh, you know, different bands, different types of music. And I just start playing that music from my car because I have the windows down and the speakers up. And we had a construction site dance party, and I kid you not, it was so fun. It was so much fun, and that traffic flew by for me that day.
And then, like, why go through life with frustration and anger and everything when you could turn it into like a fun experience?
And now I know those guys, and when I get to that part of the road, I play their favorite songs for them, and it makes it go by faster, and it makes it more fun. And like, you can make any situation be a good experience or a negative experience if you just like have that mindset going into it. And so I feel like that was just that's one example of many, but I feel like that's just, if you go through life like that, like now we're friends with those guys. I know the names of their daughters, and you know, like and you can make connections with people if you're open to it, and if you're just going through life in like a happy, joyful way. And don't be afraid to like put yourself out there, talk to somebody, and even if you're like, oh, might be kind of like a weird thing to do, to bring this up, or let's go here, or let's do that. Like, if it makes it more fun, if it is the more feral option, do it. So I think that for us, that's kind of how we live our life, and it makes everything more exciting and more enjoyable.
And like to romanticize everything and make everything special and magical, like a movie. And like, even if you have to wake up and you have to wake up at like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. every day, like romanticize that you're waking up with the stars and that you have your cup of tea before anyone else is awake. And like right now we're seated here with our dogs and we are covered in flies, which is like,
but that's what
it's
happened.
like the poetry of being surrounded by flies right now. Also earlier we had like ravens cawing and I felt like it was very Edgar Allan Poe vibes happening.
Yeah, I think there's beauty in the mess, there's beauty in the chaos.
And also, like, let all of the sad, stressful things that happen to you in life keep you on track with choosing happiness forever. Because we've had a lot of hardships and, illnesses and death and things that come and go throughout life. Like with everyone's lives, there are those elements that are the darker sides, the shadowy parts of your life. But to still see like the heartbreaking poetry amidst those and let those lessons just like fuel you to live life to the fullest, because you don't know like what life
I think
holds.
it adds to your story. And if you're like lucky enough to have survived this long, like go full feral. Go see how far you can go, full throttle, full tilt, like live life so fully, and then you will get more out of life that way. So I think it's okay to think, like some people, everyone has a different story, and you don't know what their story is, but as long as you're going through life and you're living yours exactly how you want to, chase the happiness, chase the poetry, let tomfoolery find you. I've been saying that a lot recently. And you have the opportunity to make every day the best day of your life.
Yeah.
Chase plot twists.
Yeah. And also, if you were watching the movie of your life or reading the book of your life, what would you be frustrated with? Like if you were watching the main character do what you do, are you screaming at the screen saying like, "Oh my God, just ask that person out. Stop holding yourself back. Make the art. Do the crazy."
Sometimes I'll like look at myself and if I'm like, and it's rare this happens, but if I'm in a little bit of a slump or something, or if I'm like, "Oh, I didn't do that thing," that like if I'm slightly frustrated or whatever, I'm like, "Wait 1 second. Take a step back. This is not my genre. This is not my genre. I'm supposed to be living the action adventure, like lusty romance. Like it needs to be way wilder than this. Yes. This is so boring. What I'm doing right now. This is not my genre. Good. So yeah, you guys can always
switch it up. It's never too late. Change the channel.
Change the channel.
Okay, I would love to ask you, you know how like they do those great those videos of like what's in my bag and things like that. I'd love to know what's in your artist bag. So like if you were to open up your bag right now, what would you find? What's in there? What do you like? What are your essentials? What can't you live without?
That's a really good question. Okay, so there's like certain things I like literally can't leave the house without.
Yeah.
And that is always like, I always have to have books with me. It's like such a security blanket. I always have to have books with me. You never know when you're going to be like sitting, waiting for somebody, or like stuck in like a spot, but you're like in beautiful nature or whatever, where if you have a book with you, you will always have something to do. I also like literally just can't go without reading. Like I'm constantly in need of stories, and it's how I refill my creative cup. I constantly need to be ingesting art and poetry and stories about other people's lives. So I always go everywhere with books. Also notebooks, because I'm constantly having to just like bleed out on paper every now and then. Or my notes app. Like that's a very sacred place to me, is my notes app. It's my most used app for sure. Pens, an inordinate amount of pens. Pens everywhere. Pens are in my bathroom. They're in my like toothbrush holder. Like pens everywhere. They're in my car. Chocolate. I have to have chocolate. I have to have chocolate with me all throughout the day. Everywhere I go, I never leave the house without chocolate. I always have pocket knives, as you do too, I know. If you were to actually dig through my bag, I'm sure there's some lace thongs in there. I'm sure there's some trucker hats in there. I feel like you and I always leave the house with cameras. I think that's kind of it. I feel like I pack light normally, but I also, those are the things that I know I'm gonna need. I'm also laughing because a lot of the time I'm just putting my stuff in your bag. I'm realizing, because you're like, my essentials are in your bag. I never leave my house without my sister, and then she carries all my stuff. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go into rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you things, and you don't have to put like, you don't have to, just like whatever comes to mind. Yeah.
Rorschach. Let's go.
Yeah. So what's a smell that instantly time travels you, and where do you go with it?
Ooh, I mean, the first thought is like always old books. I think that was like, in terms of, like you said, time travel, I think old books.
Like when you first read that book, or
Yeah.
like where, that's interesting.
Yeah, it takes me, I'll be in an antique store, like our grandma's house, like I feel like old books. I remember the story, the book, and where I was.
I love that. What is a word that you're currently obsessed with?
Ooh, a word. Oh, that's really good. I do think I've been saying tomfoolery a lot recently. I know that's kind of like
word.
silly, but I've been using it in terms of like chasing adventure. For me, it feels very like Tom Sawyer to be like, oh, tomfoolery, right? Like I feel like tomfoolery.
cheeky.
It's cheeky. I also use cheeky a lot. Everything's cheeky.
What is something small that you do or have that makes you feel powerful?
Ooh, I feel like something I do and have is like, I don't know if this is what you mean, but like being very patient is something that just popped into my head, which is kind of random, but I feel like it makes me feel powerful because I don't lose my cool very easily, and I feel like in situations that's served me well.
What is a book that you wish you could read again for the first time?
Oh, so many. There are
know,
certain
that's a
things
hard
where
one.
I've gone to the end of the book, I'm like, damn, I'll never be the same. I do think, honestly, Wuthering Heights comes to mind. That was a recent one for me. I have ones from different time periods in my life. I
Yeah.
think the most recent one was Wuthering Heights. I think before that was maybe Tom Sawyer. I remember getting to the end of that book and being like, man, I don't get to read that again the same way. I've read it many times since, and it's never the same.
It's different.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, honestly. I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird was another one. Little Women. I think there's like certain keystones in my life where I think of certain books and I
Yeah.
think, oh, if I could just go back
Yeah.
and read it from page one.
You never get that first reading or first viewing of a film back. It's like that unfolding is it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, especially like at the age you were when you read it, right? Because I'll never
Yeah.
be 10 reading Tom Sawyer again. I might be 25 reading Tom Sawyer again.
And then it could be maybe like a new experience
yeah,
too.
but I'll never be 10 reading Tom Sawyer again.
What is a film that rewired your brain?
Oh, I could give you a list that are like my actual, like if you were to take a swab of my inside of my cheek and
Yeah.
put it under a microscope, you would see, I mean, you would see The Mummy, the cinematic masterpiece, The Mummy.
The Brendan Fraser.
1999 cinematic masterpiece, The Mummy, for sure is like in my DNA. Yeah, I think there's a lot of films. I think that I saw certain films potentially too young and it altered my brain chemistry, but in like the best way possible. Like I think seeing The Bourne Identity at like 5 years
Yeah.
old like changed who I am as a person in a really beautiful way. I think a more recent one is probably Babylon. Babylon really altered my brain chemistry in a way that I think I'll never fully recover from, nor do I want to. Certain film scores, I mean, I think Last Mohicans, again, that was one where I was like probably far too young to have watched that, but I'm so grateful because you and
Yeah.
I watched that on VHS in our grandma's house. It's like that film changed my brain chemistry.
You can't really move on though without mentioning like Fast and the Furious.
Oh,
or, like,
I mean, yeah, if you want to go deep,
I
I
mean,
see.
Mamma Mia.
You want to go really deep. Yeah, okay, Fast and Furious, like
Practical Magic
Yeah,
is a
'cause
sister
there's-
movie that's like Jennifer's Body can't
there's,
go.
yeah, you and I have certain movies that I think are like our movies. Like
Yeah.
I think of when I think of us and our DNA and our like recipe of who we are as people, like
Yeah.
for sure Practical Magic is like top 3, maybe top 1. Like that is you and I in cinema form.
Yeah. The last rapid fire question I have is, what is a rule that you love breaking?
Oh. I have to just pick one.
It's just anything that comes to mind.
Okay, I think there's a rule that people will say like if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't do something. I think break that rule. How else are you gonna learn?
Yeah.
I think-
Everyone had to start and didn't know in the beginning.
I think people, and I've had people come at me with this recently, where they're like, "Oh, well, you're not trained in that, or you don't have a background in that, or whatever." And I'm like, "Watch me, watch me
I'm
do it."
making that background and I'm training myself right
Yeah,
now.
like give yourself the training you need, give yourself the time you need, and just do it.
Yeah.
And I think don't let I guess that falls under the umbrella of like imposter syndrome. Don't let that get in your way.
Yeah.
Because then guess what? After you do the thing, hey, you have a background in it. Now you've done it.
Yeah.
No one can argue that.
And what is the quote? It's like the only way to become a skilled master is to be like
A foolish beginner, right?
And so you have
be a
to
foolish beginner 100 times a day. And then guess what? By the end of the day, you've done 100 new things. Like, I really believe that. So don't let that hold you back. I think let yourself be a foolish beginner, and don't let the rule of you not having necessarily enough training or background in ooh, bless you, puppy. Don't let that rule hold you back. Break the rules. Make new ones.
That's a great segue into the last part of this conversation. Is I would love if you would give homework to everyone. Life school homework, Lily, inspired
I love this prompt.
rituals, books to read, songs to listen to, anything that you suggest.
Okay. I think about this a lot because this is how I live my life, and so this is my own homework that I'm going to pass on to you guys now, anyone watching or listening to this. So I think what I kind of touched on it a little bit, but feel the fear and do it anyway. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone and live there so that becomes your new comfort zone, and then push yourself further. Just keep pushing. See how far you can go.
Yeah.
Learn 8 billion new things. Become like masters of everything you're interested in. Do things for the plot, like see where it leads. Don't hold yourself back. I think do it messy, do it haphazard, just do it. Read everything that you can. Like, I think even if it's something you wouldn't necessarily like from Frankenstein to Fight Club, like seriously, like read everything that, even if you think you might not like it, like broaden your horizons. Like read kids books, read poetry, like read everything. Ingest as much creative fuel as you possibly can. I think keep pushing yourself. Buy a motorcycle. Eat a lot of chocolate. Like, do things that make you happy. Do things that make you feel feral, and just live the life that you want to live. That would be my parting words.
I love that. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
I think that's a perfect place to
We did it.
Good
Good job, puppies.
Good puppies.
Good job, Darwin the tortoise. We did it, you guys.
We did it. Oh my God.
I really love that.
That was fun.
That was fun. Thanks for having me be on your show.
Thank you.